but you have about 1,000 minutes a day. Okay. Every day you wake up as the CEO of your own bank of time with 1,000 fresh dollars. Do not waste it.
Welcome to the Spartan Up podcast, hosted by Joe Sena, founder and CEO of Spartan Race, and brought to you by Wild Health.
We are talking about overcoming obstacles. The same way we teach people to get over obstacles on the course, we will teach you here on the Spartan Up podcast to get over obstacles in your mind.
Get race ready with Wild Health, the official healthcare provider of Spartan. Sign up at wildhealth.com with the code SPARTAN10 to save 10%.
Activate the best, most energized, productive, and connected version of yourself with Heroic, the official wellness app of Spartan. Learn more and get started with your free Spartan starter pack at heroic.us/Spartan. That's heroic.us/Spartan.
Joe Sena here, CEO and founder of Spartan and the Spartan Up podcast. I got a big one for you today. I got Ryan Serhant. Hopefully I pronounced that right, Ryan. This is the #1 real estate broker in the world. You've seen him on TV. I've seen him on TV. I was like, man, you look familiar. Now I remember. This is the really good-looking guy that you see on TV that does all those, $10, $50 million deals. He's rolling in dough. He's probably got a fancy car or 10. What's going on?
Good intro. Nice and solid. Perfect. What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
You're a Spartan deep down, or are you like if I said to you, hey, we're going to go run 50 miles in the mountains, would you say to me, I don't understand that? Or would you say, let's roll?
I would say, first of all, my wife is Greek and her family is from Sparta, or Sparti, right?
Right.
And so I married into to the real Spartans, and man, oh man, is it like in the blood, when it comes down to running 50 miles in the mountains, what I'd probably say is, listen, I can do it if I need to do it. But I would get very stressed about the productivity of that run, how long it's going to take me to get there, how long the run's going to take, and how much business and work is going to be left for me not to do. That would be a tricky one.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I am 38.
38. So 38. So you're still in the thick of it. The reason I asked, you're still in the thick of it of rolling up your sleeves and making a huge impact on career.
Oh yeah.
No. So I at 38, even now, I'm a bit of a maniac when it comes to work. So I get it. You married a Spartan. That was a bold move. I mean, she's probably a lot tougher than you and I.
Yes. And she reminds me of it every day. We got married in Greece. We have a half Greek, half American baby girl now who's a lunatic. It's all in good fun. But yeah, I'm 38. I got into the real estate business in 2008. My first day was the day Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy, and I just learned how to do real estate in New York because it was that or move home. It was that or just I'm not going to be able to survive here. New York City is incredibly expensive.
It's actually unbelievable.
Renting apartments.
It's actually unbelievable. You got in the worst possible time you could have gotten into. There's no worse time you could have. Maybe the Great Depression.
Yes, that would have been bad. I got into the business when Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy. So I learned during the Great Recession, which at the time sucked. In hindsight, was an amazing time to learn. For so many different reasons, and then built up my career over 12 years. Did a show called $1 Million Listing New York on Bravo for 10 of those years. I've done a lot of different things. And then COVID hits, and I'm like, this is going to be really bad, especially for New York, right? New York, COVID was real bad in New York. The markets, the real estate market, everything was dead for a long time. And so that's when I said, all right, I like doing things when everything is really, really, really bad. Expectations are real low. And so I'm going to start my own company. And I did. And so we started Serhant, which is our own real estate company, education company, and media company. We started it in September of 2020 under quarantine in New York City.
I like it. When there's blood in the streets, Serhant pounces. That's because of your wife, by the way. That's the Spartan mentality.
I think I also I just want to win. When people ask me, what makes you tick and this, all those questions, I'm like, you know what? I just want to beat everyone. I don't know. I am not comfortable just doing the damn thing, just being okay to be okay. It's probably my greatest strength and my greatest weakness is that I have blinders on at all times, and I'm just moving forward in my specific niche. Like I'm not going after Bezos or Musk, or whoever now is the richest person in the world publicly anyway. I have my lane. I'm staying in the lane, and I want to be the best because life is short. Like if you have the opportunity to do it, why not do it?
No, I agree with you. We're actually very similar. Only you're a lot more successful, but I do love the fact that you lean in when everybody else is running. I like it. What would you say? There's a lot of people that think real estate is the way to make a fortune. What would you say somebody does? They have a job right now. They're making $75,000, $80,000. They love to own some real estate. How would you tackle that?
I would say one, you're right. Over the course of history, one of the greatest ways to build wealth is in the ownership of real estate. There's only one earth. There's only so much land, and there's only so much property, and only so many buildings to go around. That said, owning real estate is also one of the easiest ways to lose wealth, right? So it can make you an insane amount of money. It can also lose you an insane amount of money. So you have to be intelligent. You have to be smart about what you're buying. Don't just go buy a row house in a new development and then buy the one next door because you're picking them up and you think it's 2 for 1. And then the next thing you know, people don't really need these houses outside Sedona, right? That was 2008. But there's lots of ways. Technology has completely changed now. You can invest into funds now, right? Crowdfunded real estate platforms where you can own pieces of buildings and houses, $10,000 at a time. You don't have to go buy a building or buy a house and deal with all the crap. You can start dipping your toe in that way so you have some exposure to the real estate world. Or you can save up money and buy your first investment property. It can be a small 1-bedroom or studio apartment. It can be a small 2-family home. Like there's plenty of mortgages out there, just rates are much higher than they used to be. So it just makes the affordability much, much tougher. But like if I could, I would buy investment property every year. That's what I would do. There is no better way to build a wealth plan.
Would it be a 1-family? Would it be a 3-family? You'd buy one a year. Don't waste money at the bars on Friday night.
They would be multifamilies. They can be 2-family, 3-family, 12-family, and you'll just start to build, right? And you just want to make sure that they don't have issues. They're cash flow positive. I wouldn't worry about the cap rate, right? You're not in this as a retail investor. You're not in this as like an institutional investor. You have your own job. You're making money on the side. This is just so that you can plan out your future. And remember, 10 years goes by fast. You just buy 1 or 2 of these, you'll make serious money just by holding them for 10 years. Most people get stuck when it comes to cash flow. Your tenant's abandoned. Now all of a sudden you don't know what to do because you over leverage yourself because you bought it at the same time your buddy bought a place and 7% interest rate, whatever, and then the world changes and it flips back around. I think there's great negotiability out there right now. I think it's an amazing time to purchase investment property right now. You will be able to refinance as rates come back down towards the end of the year, and that's what I would do. I buy multifamily, warehouse space, just own land. Right, just own land, and you can rent out the land to trailer parks. You can rent out the land to a lot of different things. There's so much use for land these days. Or buy farmland, the list goes on and on and on.
Back in the 70s, my dad was a pretty forward thinker. Well before the late night TV shows were on pushing real estate, he was buying 3 families, 5 families, even a couple of 30 families, and did really, really well up until the late 80s. And so I love that you also pointed out not everything works forever. There are moments of dips, right? And he just absolutely got crushed. So I watched my dad, right, the guy we all look up to as young boys, who was doing really well.
He got crushed in the early 90s.
He got crushed in the early 90s. Crushed. And he lost.
Yeah, like everybody.
Yeah, he lost probably 90% of his properties. And I saw that as a kid, right? And so it definitely affected my trigger pulling capability, right? Because I saw that.
Yeah.
But
No,
had
I'm
you
right there with you.
had you been a buyer in the early 90s from him, oh my God.
Great time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You could have bought anything for
I know
$1.
a lot of people who, the savings and loan crisis in the early 90s, there's so many of those stories. Barbara Corcoran tells that story. She had a building on the Upper West Side, early 90s. She was just offering apartments for $100,000 a pop, right? If you've got $100,000, you can buy an apartment here. And obviously that was a great, great, great deal, but most people were scared. When things are bad, people think it's only going to get worse. And when things are great, people assume they're only going to get better. Right? But the tide can turn incredibly, incredibly, incredibly quickly. So as long as you're conservative, you manage that cash flow, you will be great for the long term. But I'm like you. My dad wasn't a real estate investor, but in this business, I see the amount of money that people lose in real estate all the time, and the bad development decisions and the bad ownership decisions. I see people taking significant losses. And so when people ask me, like, oh man, you must see deals every day. You must be buying up real estate left and right. I'm like, you'd think so. But because I'm in this and I see what it's like and I see the headache, like it makes me a little gun shy where I wish it didn't. That's kind of where ignorance can be bliss sometimes. If you're surrounded by the negativity, it's hard for you to even see the positivity, which is why I'm just telling everyone real estate is an amazing investment for the long term. But you can never bet on the short term. So if you're going to buy something and flip it tomorrow, you've got to have a lot of courage and you've got to be able to have a plan B. Plan B has to be just a long-term rental plan, or like a you're going to move in there plan kind of thing.
It's funny. You're hitting on all the big points I believe in. Definitely being in the game and around. I worked on Wall Street for a while, and people would say the same thing, like, "Oh my God, you must see stocks and derivatives and bonds every single day." And it's like, no, I'm in the game all day, every day, and so actually, I'm missing all these things. So I'm with you. I have a friend who's made an absolute fortune. He retired in his 30s. And he actually left New York City to get away from that noise, to get out of the bubble, the echo chamber, so that he could just think clearly and make investments without everybody talking to him. And he's done incredibly well.
I hear that and I envy that. I can't do that, but when you're surrounded by negativity, you just assume everything's bad all the time. The minute you turn off that noise and you kind of sit there in silence, you're like, you know what? It's actually sunny today. Holy, I assumed it must have been raining, but it's a beautiful day out. And it's just interesting how that, kind of like the follow the cattle mentality just affects people's decisions.
So what's the biggest mistake you see people make? It's they get too levered?
Oh yeah. I mean, yes. People get too levered, they lever up, they do adjustable rate mortgages for a short period of time because they assume, like I said, it's good. Everything's only going to be good. It's only going to go up. Even if it goes down, it'll only go down a little bit. And then contract volume drops 70%. You're like, whoa, I was not expecting that. And no one was, but it happens. These cycles happen. They happen all the time. Like they are, the surprise of the cycle is more predictable than anything else. Like we know things are going to go up and we know they're going to go down, but over the long term, they always go back up because that's what we want. And that's what the system is stacked for. Like it does no good for the government to not have people make money. It's less tax dollars, right? So the government steps in. We all think we're free, but we're not. We are all in some way, shape, and form an employee of the federal government, right? We are here and we are incentivized to create new employees. That is how this works. So if you understand that, right, you can operate accordingly. But yeah, do not be over levered. Do not take out stupid loans. Do not do anything that's going to make you uncomfortable. The last thing you want to do is lose sleep over money, or over some investment decision you made where you just were uneducated about it. And if you've never bought real estate before ever, work with someone who has. Talk to someone who has. Use a real estate broker who has. Right? Question everything. Do not be in a rush. Take your time and wait until you're incredibly, incredibly comfortable.
Yeah, I guess it's a psychology game investing, whether it's real estate, stocks, bonds, right? In some ways, more than a finance game, because what you're saying is like we get caught up in the bubble, we get excited, everybody's buying, we buy, we overlever, right? Because of that exuberance. And then many of us crash and burn.
Yeah.
And then we're too scared at the bottom to buy when we should be buying in 1990, right? So it's as much a psychology game than anything.
Always. The COVID hits, market tanks, everyone's selling their stocks, right? They're out. We started doing real estate deals where people were just dumping property. Like, nope, New York's dead. It's over. All people do is listen to the news, right? It's all they do. The buyers that I worked with at the end of 2020 in New York City, who basically looked around and said, I don't see any zombies. There's no bodies. Billions of people aren't dying. People who are sick are dying. I think New York's probably going to be fine. They went out and stole things, even at big numbers. Oh yeah, we had one guy on 57th Street who because he watches CNBC and CNN and reads the New York Times, New York City is dead and over forever. He was into a property for $37 million. I brought the buyer and he bought it for 16 and a half. Okay. And that buyer is just like, listen, if that guy wants out because he thinks New York is dead, no problem. I'll take the risk at this number. Did other things. We had $40 million properties we sold for 20. We had $2 million properties we sold for like 1.25. Like it was nuts, crazy. And all of those people regret it. But they're the same people who at the end of 2008 were selling everything everywhere. You know, you cannot be dictated by fear. I think either Mike Tyson or Mike Tyson's trainer, I think said it best, that said, fear is like fire, right? When you use that fire to fuel you, right, it can heat your entire house. Heat your house, but it can take care of you, take care of your whole family. It's going to be great. It's awesome. But when you use it to be afraid of it, it can also burn your house down. So how do you look at that fire, right? How do you look at that fear? And we see it in every market cycle. And every cycle has three people. You got the innovator, you got the imitator, and then you have the idiot. And we're going through a little bit of an idiot phase right now. You know, it just is what it is. And we'll come out of it, and then innovators will come back into it, and then we'll ride the cycle all over again.
But Ryan, I'm sure a bunch of people are listening right now and saying, but when do you know when the fire is done burning? Like when do you step in, right? Is it when it's all over the news and on the front page that New York City is dead? When is that moment?
Well, it's not just New York, right? This is national, it's international. The minute you start seeing properties sitting on the market for 6 months or longer, that's when you jump in. Like that's it. Like it's a days on market absorption math problem. If things are selling in less than 90 days, then sellers still have most of the power. If they're not, right, then you have the ability to step in and really, really do some damage. But even if not, if you're in a market, and whoever your listeners are, wherever they are around the world, you know, if you're in a market where things sell in an hour still, it's probably not the right time to jump in. Wait till it takes a couple weeks, you know, and then maybe that's the right time. And you can still try to find off-market deals. There's JV opportunities with different people to purchase, you know, different types of land opportunities and development deals. It depends. Or you can just buy a single family place that you like and Airbnb it, right? That's what you stick it into.
I guess that's the big takeaway for me is this is a philosophy in life, not just real estate. Like having this patience, having the ability to just wait for that right moment to pounce, not blow your resources in a immature fashion, right? And then not have the resources when you need it. It's like going out on that 50-mile run too fast, too soon.
Yeah, you don't want to sprint out of the gate, right? And you also don't want to do anything before a race that you've never done before during training. I have a guy that works for me who trained so long for the New York City Marathon, okay? So long. And then he was so nervous leading into the marathon, the morning of, he could barely sleep. He was so nervous. He's going to do it. He would have been fine. Probably would have broken his PR. But someone was like, hey, have you ever tried these gel packs? And he's like, sugar, you take them. And he's like, no, I've never done that. Does that help you? He's like, dude, oh man, it helps me. I've been training with him for a year. It's amazing. And because he was afraid and that guy looked like he was better than him, he's like, sure, I'll take it. Those gel packs are filled with caffeine. Caffeine makes you go to the bathroom. That guy went to the bathroom 5 times on that race because caffeine then also dehydrates you. So he's going to the bathroom, dehydrated, pounds more water than he's ever pounded on a race ever before. And now he's got to go to the bathroom again, and then the bathroom again, and then the bathroom again, and he added like an hour to his time, but learned a super valuable lesson. Like, don't change anything on race day. Race the same way you've trained, no matter what that guy has or what kind of shoes he has or what kind of gel that guy is scarfing down.
Well, back to investments. I mean, same mindset applies, right? Like set your parameters, create your standards, have your plan, and then stick to it no matter what the crowd is doing.
Caffeine is one of the most widely used performance-enhancing drugs, but are you using it to your full advantage? Hi, I'm Dr. Julie Fouché from Wild Health. We've probably all seen the benefits of caffeine when it comes to focus and mood and cognition, but did you know that caffeine can also enhance our exercise performance? Now, we all respond differently to caffeine. Some of us, it may enhance our performance with exercise. For some, it may have no effect. And for others, it could actually decrease our performance. And the only way to figure this out for yourself is to do some experiments. You probably want to do this outside of a competition environment first. The first step is going to be to go completely off of caffeine, which can be a little bit scary, but will be useful if you can learn some information that will help your performance long term. Once you do that, you want to reintroduce caffeine, maybe just 100 milligrams, 1 cup, 30 to 60 minutes before your workout, and see how you feel. How did you perform? From there, you can play around with the dosing and the timing to see what works best for you. Now, unfortunately, caffeine can also have a negative impact on our sleep. And the only way to determine this and how you metabolize caffeine is to, again, do some experiments. So first, maybe try cutting off your caffeine intake after noon. See how you feel. How did you sleep? How do you feel the next day? Are you rested? If you're wearing a sleep tracker, what do your numbers look like? Then you can, again, play around with that threshold. How late in the day can you tolerate it, and how much can you tolerate over the course of the whole day? So once again, there's a lot of potential benefits of this drug, caffeine. The only way to determine how it works best for you is by doing some of these experiments.
Spartans, do you want to go through life in the same unstoppable way that you do at a Spartan race? With the courage, commitment, and confidence to go over, around, and through obstacles? Well, that's exactly what Heroic, the official wellness app of Spartan, is all about. Heroic integrates ancient wisdom, modern science, and practical tools to help you activate the best, most heroic version of yourself. Get started for free with more wisdom in less time with a Spartan starter pack distilling the big ideas from a few of Joe DeSena's great books, Spartan Up and the Spartan Way, into 6-page PDFs. Then, put that theory into practice with world-class habit tracking and behavior design tools that research shows can help you be 40% more energized, 20% more productive, and 15% more connected in just minutes a day. Learn more and get your free starter pack at heroic.us/Spartan, where, as a Spartan, you'll also be able to save 20% off all premium memberships. It's time to activate your best and flourish, being more energized, productive, and connected. Not someday, but today.
Yeah, and you also don't know how much someone is paying for something, how much of their own capital they're putting in, right? People lie all the time to make themselves seem better. You don't know if they, had parents or in-laws who gave them some cash on the side, but they're telling you they did it all on their own. You have no idea. You don't know if maybe he got burned or he spent way too much or had the wrong contract. You don't know. You also don't know that maybe that person, why are they so good? That person owns so many things because they have connections. They got connections in the industry you just don't have, right? So no one's ever doing as great as they say they're doing, right? And so don't pay attention to anyone else. Just focus on yourself, keep those blinders on, and just keep moving and do what you're comfortable with, right? Be comfortable.
How important is health and I love that you're talking about, a little bit of nutrition, and how important is health and wellness in this game?
For me, it's incredibly important. I don't know how important it is to everyone else that I compete with in the real estate world. I've intermittent fasted for a long time. I just finished a 42-hour fast had to make sure I ate before talking to you to make sure I wasn't like slurring my words. Right. I work out every single day. I eat pretty clean, as clean as I possibly can without being a lunatic about it. Because I'm in a client business, right? I'm in a people business, and I don't want to be the guy going to dinners being like, well, I only eat chickpeas, so I can't go there. But I think listen, again, you only have one mind, you only have one body. You got to take care of it. I am obsessed with the future. Like for the longest time, and I put it in my first book, Sell It Like Serhant, I have a photo of myself aged to 80 years old. And I had it next to my computer screen at all times, just as a constant visual reminder, I'm going to be that guy before I know it. Like today it's almost over. This whole week just flew by in an instant, right? It's going to be 2025 before we know it, and then 2030, and then 24, and then, days are long, but the years are short, and I do not want to wake up one day 80 being like, why am I in a wheelchair? Like, how come I didn't take care of myself? Why do I have diabetes? Like, you got to be in it for the long game while also giving your moments to cheat a little bit, right? Give yourself little rewards. So I'll do cheat meals on Saturday, and they're gluttonous and awful. I'm a fat kid at heart. But I go really, really hard in workouts, and I work out every day as long as I'm not traveling or somewhere crazy. But I think you've got to keep a sound mind and body if you want to be productive, if you want to be the fullest version of yourself. Otherwise, you're holding back from the rest of the world.
No, I mean, it sounds like you're playing for gold medals, right? You're not playing for 5th place. And so you're treating yourself like an Olympian, even though you're not competing in the Olympics, you're competing in the real estate world.
Yes. I mean, I will never be an Olympian. That's not in the cards for me. I would die. I just wouldn't make it. I knew that pretty early on. And then I found my calling in real estate by accident. And I apologize for all the sirens if you can hear them. I am in New York City, and I don't know, something terrible must be going on outside. I'm in Soho right now on West Broadway. But I got into real estate to pay my bills. I came to New York to do theater, to be an actor. And after 2 years of living on my savings from, that I just kind of scrounged together up until that point, I ran out of money. It's like, move home or get your real estate license. Right? Theater is just like being a real estate agent. You memorize information, you improvise with everyone you meet, and you got to take initiative and just try to get things done every day. They're basically the same business for the most part. And it worked for me, and I got addicted to it.
What's crazy about your current location is I almost bought an apartment. Is Barolo still a restaurant down there in Soho? Barolo?
Maybe. I have not been there in forever, so I honestly don't know. It could have been a COVID fatality.
So across from Barolo, so I definitely West Broadway, can't think of the cross street, was the largest single floor apartment in Manhattan at the time. It was 11,000 square feet, one floor. It came with an 11,000 square foot roof. It was being offered by an executor to a will of an artist who had died. It was listed for $5 million. Okay. I bid $2.2 million. It was 1997, 98. They came down to 2.2. They hit my bid. The Russian bond crisis hit. I got spooked and didn't do the deal. I screwed that one up.
Oh, God. Dude, that would be a $50 million apartment today. Yeah, but you never know. Hindsight is 20/20. Like, you just don't know. You know how many people I meet who are like, oh, if I'd only held on to that. Even my wife's dad was in the real estate business in New York City in the 80s and early 90s, right? Kind of like your dad. And I remember the first time I met him, because they're based in Athens now, and they flew over to see us, I think, for the holidays. And he's like, I want to go drive around and see some of my old properties. I don't even want to pretend to do his accent because his name is Leonidas from Sparta, and he sounds like it. Like, what property you want to go see? He's like, oh, I own the northwest corner of 23rd and Park Avenue. I'm like, oh, what, do you still? Like, no, I had to give it away in like 92. the same time your dad did. The savings and loan crisis came through and crushed everybody. And he basically just spent a couple years just unloading properties and then just moved his whole family back to Greece. And it was a shame. Like, he had properties in Times Square. He had like stuff everywhere, like parking lots, like all diners, classic Greek guy who didn't believe in banks. Every dollar went into owning property. Man, oh man, man, oh man.
You can't get over levered. All right. So three things that everybody should be doing to optimize their life. 3 things.
Oh God, everyone's probably talked about 1,000 things. Like for me, let me just say like the way I optimize my life. Okay. First is, every year I plan something that scares me. One thing going into the year. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I'm a huge goal setter. You got to set goals. I set a lot of goals. I don't negotiate with those goals. I have a lot of capacity to do a lot of different things. I'm building my own company. Like, there's a lot going on. So I'm goal setting, but you've probably heard that one before. But then I also look at the year, and I talk to my wife, or I talk to a friend, or I talk to the mirror. Like, what's one thing that's going to scare the shit out of me? And I'm going to put it on the calendar this year, and I'm not going to change it. Like, I went to New Zealand one year and I went bungee jumping in the Nevis crevice off a gondola. I will never do it again, but it changed my life forever. And actually plan it, put it into your calendar. Okay. That's 1. 2, I really, really, really believe in fasting. It's not for everybody. It's not for pregnant women. Okay. So chemical imbalances and health aside, I really believe in fasting. Like I said, I just finished up basically a 2-day fast, right? I just ate for the first time since Wednesday afternoon. It's Friday afternoon right now. It is the simplest, clearest way that I know to get physical and mental clarity, right? I don't think people understand really what your body goes through to digest. And you've been digesting 24 hours a day, every day since the day you were born. Like, the first time you fast, you're going to hate life. You're going to be and your body's then going to shift. It's going to calm down. It's going to say, oh, we're doing things new now. For the first time in my entire life, we are now operating this body in a new way. I guess we're going to use the reserves we now have, right? So that's, I would say that you can fast in any way that you possibly want to. And then the boring one that everyone said, but I just got it because it's super important for me. You have to wake up early. That's something probably everyone says, but it optimizes my life because I believe in buying time. You have 1,440 minutes in a day. 440 of those minutes plus minus are sleeping, eating, kissing the baby, doing stuff like that, scrolling on TikTok. You have 1,000 minutes a day to be productive. Your minutes are not the same as anyone else's minutes. Some people might have 2 jobs. Some people might have no job, but you have about 1,000 minutes a day. Okay. Every day you wake up as the CEO of your own bank of time with 1,000 fresh dollars. Do not waste it. Do not overthink it. If someone steals 15 of those dollars, don't throw away the other 985, right? Wake up early and go after it. I wouldn't even say I'm a morning person. I think people think I am now because I wake up at 4:30 every day, but I like sleep. I mean, are you kidding me? If I could, dude, I would sleep in every day. I wouldn't go to work. Ugh. I would just watch Netflix and play video games and eat cereal and Oreos all day. That's what I would do. I would just if there was no rule, that's what I would do. But unfortunately, this is the only life I know of that I'm going to have, and it's short. And so I have to make the absolute most of it. And so I want to have as much of it as I possibly can. So wake up early and buy more time than anybody else. Those are the 3 things I'd say.
I love it. I love number 1, do something scary. Obviously, we tell the world to sign up for some crazy race anywhere in the world because it forces change.
Yes.
There was a fourth one you snuck in there, which I love. Don't negotiate with your goals. I love that. I love fasting. Great call. And oh my God, wake up early. Like I'm fighting with the whole world on that one. I mean, when I lived in New York, I get up 5 a.m. I'm out in Central Park. I'm like, there's 8 million people here. Why is there only 8 people running in the park? I don't understand.
Because it's terrifying and you're going to get murdered and raped, dude. Have you been to New York recently? Oh my God. You can't go running in the park at 5 a.m. Even me. Terrible.
All right. How do people find you? How do they get the book? Maybe they should meet you at 5 a.m. in the park.
No, I'm not in the park, man. I can't run that fast. People coming after me. I'm just like anyone else. I'm on every social platform at Ryan Serhant. I've written 2 books. I'm working on my 3rd right now. First one is Sell It Like Serhant, which is a funny but also very tactical sales manual on how to sell anything to anyone, and how to build a sales career, right? And no matter what you sell, whether it's real estate, cars, software, or T-shirts on Etsy. My second book was Big Money Energy, which is the secret sauce on how to put all those ingredients together. It's how to create confidence when you don't have it, which is a big thing for me when I first moved to New York and I got into real estate. It was like, I'm not from here. I don't know what I'm doing. And now I got to push myself off as a confident real estate. How do I do this? There's various podcasts, different things. Our personal website is ryanserhant.com. Our real estate website is serhant.com. I'd love to connect with anybody.
I got something that might scare you, but I think we should do it for the in-laws. And in November, we have a race in Sparta, Greece, Sparty. You should at least come and check it out. I mean, your wife is from there. We should see.
Yes.
I assume the dad is still alive.
Very much so. How long is that race?
We have 3 different distances, so we could do the 3 mile, the 8 mile, the 13 mile. We'll get your babies out there. It sounded like you got a child or 2.
Yeah, let me think on that one. You know how far Greece is for me to go there in November in the middle of our fall selling season? Like when I go on runs, all I think about is the other work I could be doing at that time.
Your father's name is Leonidas.
Father-in-law, okay? Father-in-law. In-law.
All right. Well,
it is. His name is Leonidas. Her brother's name is Stratos. Her sister's name is Euphemia Maria.
I love it.
Right, and her name is Emilia with an E.
I love it, and I love Greek salad. All right. Well, you're awesome. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Maximize energy, optimize nutrition, and improve performance with Wild Health. Personalized precision healthcare built for Spartans. You'll get a personalized health plan based on your DNA and biometrics and the support of a team of health experts. Sign up at wildhealth.com with the code Spartan10 to save 10%. Thanks for listening to this episode of Spartan Up Podcast.